Hey everybody, it's Angie and welcome to Hot and Flashy. Today's video is about my recent experience getting Juvederm for the very first time. While I was there, I also got my Botox freshened up, so I'll touch on Botox a little bit in this video. The reason I'm not going to do full thing on Botox here is that I've done two previous videos on Botox, and if you want to watch one of those, I'll put the link to that below. Recently, I was feeling like my, what do they call these? Nasolabial folds were getting, it sounds dirty, doesn't it? Gosh, couldn't they come up with a better name for them? Yeah, I was feeling like when I got up in the morning that they were very flat and creating a big shadow by the side of my nose. And for about the past year, I've been thinking I kind of want to try fillers and see how it is. So anyway, I did shoot some before and after footage so that we'll be able to compare sort of what my forehead and my folds looked like before I went into. Then I shot a little more right when I came out of his office to show you really what you're in for with this procedure. And then I have some photos to show you the bruising that I had. So let's get into it. All right, so what is Juvederm? It's a dermal filler and it's made out of mainly hyaluronic acid. So hyaluronic acid is a naturally occurring acid in our skin, and what it does is it binds water molecules to it. Now, if they were to just inject in plain old hyaluronic acid, your system would absorb it so quickly that it wouldn't make any difference. So what they do is they take it and they combine it with a gel, and that makes it so that it sort of stays where they put it, but it looks natural. It's not lumpy and bumpy. For me, I can't feel it, and I can't even really tell the difference that much, except that in the mornings when I get up and look in the mirror, I'm not like, oh, look at that deep dark shadow over there. Now, the advantage to injecting hyaluronic acid is it's not only cosmetically plumping up the space and doing the filling that you're getting, but it's also helping your skin to generate more new collagen. I like things that are going to help my skin to make more new collagen of its own, because after we turn 30, our skin starts shutting down the collagen factory. We make about 1% less collagen every year after we're 30. So now that I'm 51, my skin is making 21% less collagen. All right, so the office visit. If you think there's a possibility that you're a bruiser or that you're going to bruise easily, which is very, very common, in order to minimize the bruising, what you can do is at least a week before you go, you need to stop taking any blood thinners. So if you're on any kind of aspirin regimen, Advil, NSAIDs, and vitamin E and fish oil are the other ones. Now, if you're on blood thinner for a heart problem, consult your doctor before you stop taking that, because you may need that to live. All right, so let's just talk briefly about Botox, which is what I also had done that day. Botox is a botulism toxin that's injected directly into the muscles of the face to cause paralysis, and then the muscle paralysis causes the skin on top to relax, and therefore the deeper wrinkles to soften and not be visible. And it is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I love it. I've been getting it about 5 to 7 years now, and always right in here in the 11s. I did have my whole forehead done once, and that I didn't like the feeling of. It was too heavy, and it made my hoods on my hooded eyes worse. So I have not had that done again. So this time I went and I had them just do the 11s, but then I have them take an extra 5 units. What I get is just more of a strip in the middle that's done, and then I still am able to have movement on the sides here, but without having that kind of crazy Jack Nicholson look of the raised eyebrows all the time, but I can raise them if I want to. So that's how I get the Botox. Your metabolism affects how long it lasts. I have a super fast metabolism. This is the only part of my life that I don't like having a fast metabolism, is that my injectables don't last as long. Now, where this is my first time with Juvederm, I don't know how long it's going to last, but with my Botox, it's generally worn off in 10 to 12 weeks, which is 3 months. A lot of people get 4 to 6 months out of it, not me. And even if I get it, consistently and often, still, I used to be able to stretch it out to 6 months, not anymore. Now it's just worn off. Also, before your visit, make sure that you bring a compact with you, a makeup touch-up, because when you go into the office, they'll remove your makeup wherever you're having the injectables. They swab it with alcohol so it's sterile, so that they don't introduce an infection into the skin. So don't go there with a face full of makeup, because they are going to take it off you anyway. They will ask you a number of questions about what you're allergic to. They will have a number of forms for you to sign, with all the disclosures, which if you read them and find out what all the potential hazards are with this stuff, you may decide to run screaming from the office. But there are some chances, that bad things could happen. With Botox, it can migrate and you can end up with kind of a palsied, totally droopy look to one eye. Thank goodness it's temporary, but still you have to walk around for 3 months with like a droopy eye, which is no good. That has not happened to me, knock wood, and I hope it never does. With the Juvederm, I don't think there are as many kind of potentially bad side effects. I think it's more just the risk of infection, swelling, irritation, and bruising is all I've heard. I think that hyaluronic acid, since it's in all of our bodies, people tend to not be allergic to it. I've been to places where they numb you and where they don't numb you. And I've gotten the Botox without any numbing, and you know, it's a little painful. You just kind of have to yoga breathe through it. Then he gave me a rubber glove filled with ice, and I held that to the area for a while. While we were waiting for that to ice, he also, you know, wiped off the makeup here, did the alcohol wipe, and then put some topical numbing agent. Then while he was doing the Botox, I held the ice over here. So he did, I think, 3 around here, 3 around here, and then he did 1, 2, and 1, 2. Because your face works in opposing muscle groups, so if you're going to paralyze this muscle will go into super overdrive and compensate and pull way up. So you also have to do a top muscle to make sure that they're both paralyzed and they're not pulling, you know, against each other, which is why people get kind of that crazy eyebrow. Because sometimes they try to give you an eyebrow lift by going out here, which it really does work, but sometimes it looks nuts. And so if you end up with the nutty eyebrow, you should go back and have them do a little Botox up here that will let that settle down a little bit if you don't like the look of it. Okay, so that's how you handle that. If you're going back to work or you think you're not going to look different afterwards, you are going to look different for a couple of hours afterwards, especially with the Botox, where if you have it done in your forehead, the skin is so thin that it does make, on me, sort of a red, angry looking welt. You may have less irritation, but you know, I have very sensitive skin. I get like this, you know, big red welt. And then, of course, where he did hit the vein, it started to bruise. Okay, so then onto the Juvederm here. On this side, he did 3. He did 1 up here, 1 here, and 1 here. And then while he did this one, I held the ice over here. And then over here, he only did 2. 1 up here and 1 here, I think. So he asked me which side of my face I sleep on. And he goes, well, one side of your face is a little worse than the other, which is why he did 3 over here. He was like, I bet when you sleep on your side, you sleep on this side. And I was like, you're right. So he could tell just by looking at me which side of my face I sleep on and which side needed more. Now, if he had his way, he would have pumped 2 vials of Juvederm in there. Since I'm just trying it for the first time, you know, I like to ease into things. I don't want to come out there looking weird, or I don't like the Juvederm look where it's completely flat across here. I don't think that looks natural. When I look at my kids, they have, you know, a plumpness to their cheek. They don't have a plumpness to here, and there always is a shadow in here. There always is a little bit of a, not a crease, but an indent in there if the cheek is out here. So I was like, no, we're going to do 1. So he split the vial between both, and it might be very, very subtle, like I said, but I would prefer to wade in and do it subtly than to come out of there looking like I don't look like me, or like a result that looks obviously Juvederm. Now, this is the part that surprised me. After he got done doing the injections, then he goes, open your mouth, and I did. And then he sticks his finger and thumb in there and starts like massaging from the inside and the outside. And I was like, it kind of weirded me out a little bit. I didn't know they did that. So anyway, just be prepared for that if your provider does do that. Like, once they get it in there, then they can kind of massage it into place. And then I was good to go. And so now let me show you the video of me before going into his office, and then you'll see the movement in my forehead and my level of folding here, and that's coming up here. So yeah, those little sort of sharp shadows and this kind of droopiness has really been bugging me. So we'll see, and hopefully I can get him to do my Botox too at the same time. So I will see you when I come out and let you know what it was like. And now I'll bring in the video of me right after I left his office. And the Juvederm, he said it was surprising I bled less here and more here, which is unusual. He said most people bleed here but not here. So he was saying I have a very lower chance that I will have any bruising over here, which is good. So you can see I look pretty messed up in this. All right, so I'm telling you all the mistakes that I make. I didn't stop the blood thinners before I went, so I did have bruising. I didn't bring makeup with me, so when I went shopping afterwards, I was going to the mall, I looked like Frankenstein. But I did stop at Ulta and have them put some makeup on me. And then I have some pictures of me a couple of days afterwards to show you the bruising that I ended up with. So here comes those. Okay, so while the bruising is a little bit annoying, I didn't really think it was bad. I was surprised at how like teeny these two little bruises were. It was like the two on my forehead that bothered me more because they tended to like, spread. But I have a great solution for you. My doctor had told me if you do have some bruising, go out and get yourself some Arnica Montana and put that on 3 times a day and your bruising won't last as long. And while it didn't clear it up right away, it did make the bruising go away in 7 days rather than normally when I bruise, the bruise stays there for a good 14 days. So it cut the time in half, so that was great. This is what I got. It's called Arnicare Creams. They had that at CVS. You can find it at Whole Foods. It's all natural. It's an herbal remedy. If you have back pain, you can rub it on your back, but it worked great for the bruising. Just a little bit about how to cover a bruise. Oh my gosh, they are so hard to cover, that crazy color. So I just wanted to show you quickly what I did, and this really worked great for me. You need a color corrector or a purple green canceller. So I use Armani Master Corrector in color number 2, I think. So this is the peach one, as you can see, and it's a really super thin sheer liquid. It comes with this tiny brush. I tried everything in my arsenal of makeup up there. I tried every foundation I had. I tried every concealer I had. I tried combinations of different things. This was the combination that worked the best. So this is Smashbox Photo Ready Eyelid Primer. So what you do is you just take a little bit of this and you'll put it on the back of your hand. Then you take a nice like flat foundation brush, just pick up a little bit of that so you barely have any, and then just, I had to go like this, just go in and like hit the bruise with it. The tiniest, thinnest coating that you can get on there, okay? Then do the same with this. Back of the hand, same thing, tiny thin coating, cover, cover, cover. If it's not completely covered at that point, you want to do a second coat, that's fine because you put on super thin coats. You can do it again, that, then that, then that, until you get the coverage that you want. And as the very last step, just take your setting powder and a nice fluffy brush, dip it in there, tap it off, and then just set by tapping, set the powder over the bruise, and you will be good all day. With some of the other things that I tried, it would be worn off in a couple of hours. Now that you've seen the before and the immediately after, now let me scooch over here and I'll bring in the before again and we can see 2 weeks after, because really it takes these things 2 weeks to really kick in. And I'm going to come in a little closer. There's me trying to scowl. I see I can't bring my eyebrows together. I can still raise them. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I forgot to mention. Oh, there is one thing. The great thing about Juvederm is it's reversible. They have this other thing that they can inject in and it dissolves it. Botox, not so much. Once it's in there and it's in your muscles, there's nothing you can do about it and you are stuck with it. That is pretty much it. I think that's everything I wanted to say about Juvederm. So while it is expensive, I think it does work. I'm happy with my results so far, and only time will tell how long this is going to last. I know this is going to wear off and I'm going to be getting it done again. I do it about 3 to 4 times a year. I try to push it off as long as I can before I get it redone, just because, it's hard for me to pump $1,200 into my face here, and now if I start adding this, my gosh. Oh, some people ask if you can feel it. I gotta say, I cannot feel it in there. Like, it's not lumpy, it just feels firmer, I guess. Like the rest of my skin, when I press on it, especially in the hollow of my cheek, like, oh, it goes way in there. This is definitely firmer. And hopefully it's already starting to help my skin to generate its own new collagen. So that's great. So far for me, a win-win. I'm so glad I had it done. That's it for today, everybody. Thanks for watching. I hope you found the video informative. I really appreciate your time. And as always, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.